Where is Mr. Lemieux right now, ma'am?
If I can ask you to please leave the school property.
Okay. Who are you?
Superintendent of Education, please leave
Oh, and your name would be?
Leave the school property, please.
Okay. You're worried about me standing on this grass, and yet you're protecting somebody who's potentially a sexual pervert. You're a police officer? When it comes to a reporter stepping on a piece of grass, that's a crime. That's trespassing.
They can push their agenda all they want, but don't push it on my grandchildren and my children. It's gone too far.
I would say it's just it's a bit too much. Where do you draw the line in terms of expression, right? There's nothing wrong with people doing that. I have nothing absolutely against that, but a teacher in that position, that's kind of crazy.
David Menzies for Rebel News here at Oakville Trafalgar High School. As you know, we've been here, that's Lincoln J and I, for the last 2 days reporting on that grotesque spectacle, which is Mr. Lemieux, the shop teacher with the giant fake breasts, who doesn't adhere to any kind of dress code or shop safety etiquette. But you know what? The school has the police on a leash. They were actually called the police because, get a load of this, folks, I stepped on this piece of grass here, and evidently that's trespassing. We're only doing so to get in the shade, show the Oakville Trafalgar High School sign, and to prevent the sidewalk from being blocked for students that were out and about. Well, Officer Friendly, who was here yesterday, he dropped by in his Black Power police cruiser, and let's see how that interaction went. Hey, how you doing there, ma'am?
Great, thanks. I'd like you to leave the school property, please.
Oh, well, you mean this 2 feet here? By the way, where is Mr. Lemieux right now, ma'am?
If I can ask you to please leave the school property.
Okay. Who are you?
Superintendent of Education, please leave
Oh, and your name would be?
Leave the school property, please.
Oh, man. Okay, get ready to film this. Yeah. I've also got the...
Hi, officer.
You're not supposed to be part. School? No, they're not allowed.
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind staying off the property.
Yeah, we're off. I'm on a sidewalk, officer.
You keep stepping on the property. That's according to. No, this is actually the school property.
Yeah, I was moving, officer, not to block students using the sidewalk.
But you were pushing that last night, yesterday too, when you were here.
Yeah,
So
you're worried about me standing on this grass, and yet you're protecting somebody who's potentially a sexual pervert. You're a police officer? You're a disgrace to the badge. An absolute disgrace.
People like myself and other conservative viewers are not speaking up, and we're being silenced. You can see what's happening today with the police officer. We are being silenced for our views. They're pushing an agenda. They can push their agenda all they want, but don't push it on my grandchildren and my children. It's gone too far, and I want to publicly say that.
It was really just kind of embarrassing, and I really hope that they are able to fix the situation in the most diplomatic way. Obviously, it is just embarrassing, and just in general to have the school like this. And I graduated from here 4 years ago in 2018, and it's just kind of just a shame, like you're saying. Yeah,
it's time everybody wakes up, and I'm trying to tell my children to wake up, who are the parents, and their attitude is that's the way it is. And when I spoke to the officer in that van yesterday, he said, well, it wasn't like that. I'm 56 years old, and it wasn't like that when I went to school, but this is the way it is now. This is evolution. Well, if that's the way we want to evolve our society, I don't want to say that I'm going to be accepting of it. I'm sorry.
Why is it that this school and this school board thinks this is appropriate?
Yeah, obviously transitioning, nothing wrong with that. I completely support that. I would say that in the position that the teacher is in as a teacher, to be a role model for these students, and what she was doing with those massive breasts, I would say it's just it's a bit too much. Where do you draw the line in terms of expression, right? There's nothing wrong with people doing that. I have nothing absolutely against that, but a teacher in that position, that's kind of crazy.
Clearly, he has a problem. She has a problem. Whatever. But you want to he wants to draw attention to himself, and the fact that the school is backing him, her, that's even more outrageous. Even more outrageous. And I think, you know, a person's sexual identity is their own business, and I'm not hypocritical of how you want to live your life, but don't push your sexuality on my children.
I took the shop class back when I went here, and yeah, absolutely, you know, you couldn't wear a certain piece of clothing, you couldn't wear certain things because, yeah, I might get caught on a saw if it's dangerous to other people. But then, you know, seeing, you know, that video and seeing that whole thing, and it's like, that's not appropriate at all, and it's just kind of ridiculous, you know.
So there you have it, folks. Do you think this school has its priorities right? It seems to me they're going out of their way, even using law enforcement, to protect somebody who might be a sexual pervert. But when it comes to a reporter stepping on a piece of grass, oh, that's a crime. That's trespassing. That's something to be fined and maybe even arrested for. What an absolute disgrace. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Folks, I know you appreciate that Rebel News brings you the other side of the story, and just look at this particular story of a teacher in Oakville wearing enormous fake breasts to class. It's received all kinds of international publicity, but barely a peep in terms of the mainstream media in Canada. I wonder why that is. In any event, we need your help to bring you this kind of journalism. Please go to rebelinvestigates.com. That's rebelinvestigates.com. And if you can donate $1 or $3, that would be greatly appreciated.